Justin Herbert is the most overrated player in the entire NFL, and it's time for everyone to admit it. Now, I know it's been rather trendy to say Justin Herbert is overrated after his disastrous playoff performance against the Houston Texans, but I feel like as the months go on, people online and analysts are thinking like, hey, this guy's really good. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. He's one of the best in the league, and that needs to be stopped. Because for the life of me, Justin Herbert is not a top 5 quarterback, and I don't think he's even a top 8 quarterback in this league. Let me explain why. Because Justin Herbert has really done nothing in his career outside of winning Rookie of the Year award. But before I go off on this, I want to say, just because I say he's overrated doesn't mean I think he's bad. Justin Herbert by any means is not a bad quarterback. He's got a lot of arm talent. He's big and athletic for a quarterback who's made the playoffs twice. He's a good quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback, and he is not elite by any means. And I'm going to tell you why. For starters, when judging a quarterback, you go by the fundamentals, like making tight window throws, throwing under pressure, making smart choices, watching the pass rush. And Herbert, in theory, is one of the best QBs in the league at doing this, because you see a big, tall QB making long bombs in regular season games. But when the going gets tough, this guy crumbles. And for me personally, I value guys who play good under pressure in big games, or just under pressure from a pass rush in general, more than a guy who can throw the ball 80 yards and make spectacular throws against teams. Like, I get it. He can make some amazing throws under zero pressure. A lot of guys can. Derek Carr can. Derek Carr made a career off of throwing great balls under zero pressure. But once that pressure comes, he turns into a snail. Like, seriously, the amount of times he has had a final drive to win a game against a above-average team, he just fails to deliver. I'm talking about week 1 against the Miami Dolphins when he failed to get into field goal range against a pretty mediocre defense. I'm talking about when he was down 3 points against the Cowboys in week 6 and failed again to just get in field goal range to get the game tied. And I'm also talking about Kansas City, how he's only beaten Kansas City once off a late touchdown when the Chiefs were dysfunctional as hell. The Chiefs, both times this year, he failed to beat them and failed to make some big drives to win the game. This guy has had a lot of time to show he is clutch against good teams in big moments, and he most of the time always fails. Unless the team is mediocre, he's not going to make that super clutch play that you think he's going to make. But you think in your mind he's going to make it, but he does not make that clutch play. I swear to God, people have trapped like fantasies of Justin Herbert in their head as he's making these great throws and under pressure against elite teams. He just doesn't. He's never beaten Buffalo. He's never beaten Baltimore. He's beaten Kansas City once out of, when Patrick Mahomes was playing, like 1 out of 5 times. He hasn't beat the Cowboys. He loses to the Cowboys. I'm getting off that. Okay? Of course, there is certain times I would agree that his team lets him down, because there is times where Justin Herbert does get let down by his team. Every quarterback does. But to a certain point, you gotta overcome the mediocrity of your team if you want to be labeled as an elite quarterback. You think everything is all fine and dandy for Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen all the time? Hell no. Josh Allen's best receiver this year was Khalil Shakir, and I love Khalil Shakir, but that guy's a wide receiver 3 on some teams. No disrespect, Khalil. You're a great receiver, but it's the truth. Lamar Jackson, outside of this year, has had always mediocre receiving core and not the greatest running backs in his backfield, because they're always getting hurt or they're just okay. And Joe Burrow, for most of his career, has had a below average O-line. Justin Herbert has had enough players to make himself look good. Keenan Allen has been one of the best receivers in this league in the last 10 years. Mike Williams is a very good number 2 when he played. They've had good weapons for this guy. Their O-line's always pretty solid. It's never been amazing, I'll give him that, but it's always been pretty solid. He's had enough time to at least make a divisional round game. And I think at this point, he should have at least been finishing top 5 in MVP votes. All the top 5 quarterbacks have either won the MVP or have made it in the finals of voting, because that's what you should be doing, being labeled as a top 5 quarterback. Justin Herbert, the way I describe him right now, he's basically like Aaron Rodgers from 2015 to 2020, where he was making these insane throws, but every time they got to the playoffs and lost, everyone would just blame the entire team. And you know what? For some of those games, like the Arizona game, that was not Aaron Rodgers' fault. He played amazing. It was just his whole team just collapsed. But then there's games like the Tampa Bay game and the championship game where it's like he could have played better. And there's the Niners game where he could have played better. People still love to point and pick and say it was the defense's fault. And that is where Justin Herbert is. They would make excuses for Aaron Rodgers for not making the Super Bowl. That's the same with Justin Herbert, but it's him just making the playoffs. You don't understand this guy. The drop-off is so high. His expectations are not that ridiculous. they're really not that ridiculous to be considered a top 5 quarterback. But he fails to do it every time, and I and many other people see it, but there's still people. They see the flashy throws, they see the big, tall guy with a big arm just hucking balls down the field and think, yeah, this guy's a top 5 quarterback in this league. You gotta watch it. You gotta see what he's doing under pressure. Honestly, under pressure, I think he's okay. I think a lot of quarterbacks are better under pressure. Do you know a quarterback I think is better than Justin Herbert? And I don't know why we always rate him below him? Baker Mayfield. I genuinely don't know why we're constantly putting Justin Herbert ahead of Mayfield. What has Justin Herbert done better than Baker Mayfield? Obviously, Justin Herbert doesn't throw as many receptions as Baker Mayfield, or maybe as many dumb decisions as Baker Mayfield. But realistically, Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback under pressure, under a pass rush than Justin Herbert. He's made culture plays than Justin Herbert, and he's won playoff games. And yes, I know he has Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, but that doesn't still distract from the fact that when he's in playoff games, he's played very, very good in mostly every playoff game he's been in. And even the ones they lost, he's playing very good. If Baker Mayfield was 6'4", this guy would be labeled as a top 5 quarterback. I could believe it. If Justin Herbert was 6 foot tall, we would not be saying he's a top 10 quarterback. I firmly believe that if Justin Herbert was like a 6 foot, 6'1", we'd say, yeah, he's like top 15 quarterback. He's pretty good. Not that good though. I firmly believe that. And the only thing that drives me crazy, it took until this year for a lot of people to admit that Joe Burrow is better than Justin Herbert. Like, I was shocked after the Super Bowl run they had that majority of people were still saying Herbert was better than Burrow. I'm like, how can you say that? And then the next year they go to the championship game and Burrow plays even better than the year before, and they still say Herbert's better. But it took until this year when Joe Burrow threw 4 touchdowns to realize, like, oh yeah, Burrow's better than this guy. No shit! It was faintly obvious in the second year he's in the league, he's better than Justin Herbert. I like Justin Herbert. I think he's a good quarterback, and I hope he does better. But we can't ignore the fact that this guy has been the most overrated quarterback in the league. And after that playoff game by the Houston Texans he had, I can't defend it, man. Listen, the Houston Texans last year were a good team, but the Chargers were a good team. The Texans were a very beatable team. They went 10-7. They lost to the Jets. They lost to the Jets, guys, and the Titans with Will Levis. This team is very beatable. Very beatable. The Texans beat the Chargers, and they faced the Chiefs next week, and the Chiefs didn't try. The Chiefs were going 50%. Patrick Mahomes was in autopilot mode. The Chargers had a gimme game in the wild card against a team that has like been up and down, wobbly, roller coaster team like the Houston Texans, and Justin Herbert simply played bad. And I know you want to say the excuse, the pass rush. What warranted Justin Herbert to throw a cross-body throw in Houston territory? Why would he do that? He didn't need to do that. Also, this throw here, you want to blame the receiver? He threw over his head. Justin Herbert, he threw over his head. He threw it too high. That is the quarterback's fault. I do not care. We got to take accountability. He played freaking awful. This was a choke artist game by Herbert. I think he was feeling the pressure from the media, and he needed to show up big, and he just did. He just straight up did. I can't say he's top 8 quarterback. Like, I honestly, I would take Mayfield, Daniels, Hurts. Yes, I'd take Jalen Hurts over him. I don't care. I don't care. Watch him when he's facing good teams, you guys. Watch Jalen Hurts when he's facing a good team, and watch Justin Herbert when he's facing a good team. You'd be surprised. It'd blow your freaking mind that the guy who you think is just a running back who just touch pushes plays significantly better than Justin Herbert in big games. He just does. I don't care how good his team is. You can watch him play. He plays good against good teams. He does it all the time. But you know what? Maybe Justin Herbert goes out this year and he balls out, wins MVP, wins Super Bowl, and he's the solidified top 3 quarterback in the league. I don't know. He's still fairly young. Things can change, but we gotta stop acting like this guy is a top 5 quarterback in the league, because I'm frankly sick of it. It's shenanigans. It's hoopla. Y'all Chargers fans that don't exist, you gotta stop coping. And he's not the 5. All right, well, that's it. See ya.